In this example, we are being given some information about the original function, the graph of f. And based upon that information, they want us to pick from the options below which of these could possibly be the graph of f. So they're going to give us some first derivative data here about f, and then they're going to give us some second derivative data here about f. And then using that info, we want to decide what is the shape of this graph. So when we're dealing with these situations, what you want to remind yourself of is there's really four possible shapes that you're looking at. There's the two halves of a concave down shape. So I could have, this would be the first half of the concave down, and that would be the second half of a concave down shape. And then I have the two halves of concave up shape. So I've got this half of a concave up and this half of a concave up. A lot of people get locked into the fact that like a concave down has to be the full concave down shape. So if it's concave down, it's got to be the full frown or it doesn't count as concave down. Really, concave down is either half of that concave down shape. That's going to be enough to give you concave down. And they make the same assumption about concave up, that smiley face right there. It's got to be the full smiley face in order for it to be a concave up shape. The reality is there's two halves of each of these. If I look at my concave down side over here, I have the increasing side of a concave down shape, so the side that's headed up. And then on the other side, I have the decreasing portion of a concave down shape. Then looking at my concave up shape, same sort of idea. I've got the decreasing side of a concave up shape, and on the other half, I've got an increasing side of a concave up shape. So that's how we connect our first and second derivative to decide what the shape of our graph would look like. So let's take what they start us with here. So first and foremost, we're being started with our first derivative data. So they're telling us that f prime of x is greater than 0. So when we're talking first derivative data, we're talking about positive means increasing, a negative derivative means decreasing. So when it's greater than 0, that's telling us that the first derivative is therefore positive, and that means that it's increasing in that section. Then if we come through and look at our second derivative data, we take that and they're telling us that we have the second derivative of x is less than 0. Well, when we're talking positive second derivative, that would mean concave up like a cup. If we're talking negative second derivative, that would mean concave down like a frown. So they're telling us our second derivative is less than 0. That tells us that it is negative and therefore concave down like a frown. And so what we're looking for now that we can see those two things together is we are looking for the increasing section of a concave down graph. And so as we talked about, that would have been this half over here, the increasing section of a concave down graph. And as you look through your options, option C gives us that. Option C is increasing. That's a positive first derivative, and it is part of a concave down like a frown shape. And so we know that we would be looking at option C in this scenario. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, please click that like button and subscribe. And also share it with your friends and anyone else you know who might be crying about an upcoming AP Calc test. You can find more videos from me, more sample AP Calc questions, and my complete AP Calc study guide over at my website, apcalcprep.com. Have a great one.